Tesla Robotaxi is dead on arrival in my opinion. In this video, I'll break down the critical product design and product strategy flaws that doom Tesla full self-driving FSD system. These flawed decisions are set to create massive economic and safety problems, making the entire Tesla Robotaxi concept based off of the current FSD unworkable. The first product strategy mistake that Tesla made with its Robotaxi is any cost savings from replacing a human driver who earns around $7 an hour will be offset by the staggering cost of AI training and GPUs, which can amount to billions of dollars per year. For example, Uber has struggled to turn a profit with an average margin of negative 3.2% in 2022. Although self-driving cars are not an infinite AGI problem, they present a very complex multi-parameter AI challenge that requires continuous training, improvements, and substantial investments to stay competitive. Any potential profit or cost savings from not having a human drivers will likely be consumed by the cost of data centers, electricity, GPUs, AI training, talent, car maintenance, and cleaning. With the current AI wars going on and the breakdown of global supply chain, geopolitical tensions, and the complex nature of scaling up chip fabrication itself, expect the GPU and electricity costs as well as inflation to keep climbing higher and higher. Adding to these high costs is a core issue of the business model, getting people from point A to point B as cheaply as possible. This fundamental aspect leaves very little room for profit margins, value addition, or differentiating services. The second major product issue that I can see plaguing Tesla Robotaxi business is the omission of LiDAR sensors or any other sensors in its FSD machine learning and AI algorithm. I see this as a fatal technical, marketing, and political mistake by Tesla, driven more by cost cutting than by sound technical reasoning or business planning. First, let's talk about the business failure of eliminating LiDAR. Tesla is trying to emulate NVIDIA's model by licensing its FSD technology to other car manufacturers, hoping to sell FSD shovels in the middle of the Robotaxi gold rush. These manufacturers have invested heavily in developing self-driving systems with advanced redundancy including cameras, sensors, and LiDAR. They are not going to toss away a decade of R&D into the area, especially when Tesla FSD is still behind Waymo as we speak. Waymo has also been hitting more than 100,000 weekly paid rides, whereas Tesla FSD 12.5 still requires lots of intervention, even with version 12.5 as seen in many YouTube videos. Tesla's decision to eliminate LiDAR to cut costs was a strategic blunder. By excluding LiDAR, Tesla has alienated legacy automakers like Hyundai, who rely on proven, redundant safety systems to protect their reputation. The reality is that the cost of LiDAR is dropping rapidly, as demonstrated by Xiaomi SU7 and various BYD models. These vehicles, equipped with the best-in-class LiDAR, are still priced significantly lower than a Tesla Model 3 manufactured in China without LiDAR. Tesla's refusal to adopt this crucial technology not only jeopardizes its competitive edge, but also undermines trust with potential partners. In other words, in the eyes of legacy automakers, aka the customers of self-driving technologies, Tesla Robotaxi is a wooden spoon, not a shovel to the gold rush. Tesla should have made LiDAR an optional feature of their cars. This would allow owners to choose whether to add LiDAR, and the software team could then develop algorithms that use LiDAR mapping. Waymo's self-driving cars operate at level 4 with LiDAR and at level 2 without it. Tesla is currently at level 2. Waymo cars without LiDAR can still perform effectively, but the LiDAR redundancy helps Waymo offer more reliable and safer self-driving solution. This redundancy allows these companies to assure shareholders and customers of their safety, transferring liability to LiDAR manufacturers instead of themselves. Many Tesla owners have higher disposable incomes, and if they could buy a Model Y for $40,000 or $50,000 with various FSD packages, adding a $5,000 LiDAR option could enhance the FSD experience. This would boost FSD market share and provide Tesla with new revenue from selling and servicing LiDAR units. Designing and engineering and tailoring LiDAR systems to reduce their costs using first principles should have been a part of the Tesla EV and FSD strategy. If Tesla manufactures and designs its own LiDAR, it could have found ways to cut costs of the LiDAR sensor systems significantly by breaking down the parts, seeing how much each costs, and finding ways to eliminate as well as re-engineer parts that are too expensive. Instead, Elon Musk and FSD team just eliminated the entire LiDAR sensor altogether, where LiDAR itself can be a significant business. Having a LiDAR option and not a mandate on Tesla cars is a win-win business and technical strategy. Frugal customers don't lose money. The company earns extra margins, and customers who want LiDAR, just like installing optional moonroof package, would feel more confident partnering with Tesla. I mean, instead of restricting the customers and telling them what to do, this is a case where Tesla should have given the choice, the freedom to choose, to the owners of Tesla cars. I don't think adjusting the algorithm to include LiDAR would cost more than, say, adding thousands of servers in data centers along with GPUs to train the extra data collected from cameras to make up for the lack of LiDAR. The thing is, even companies that are using LiDAR after perfecting their algorithms and hardware design are starting to find ways to reduce sensors but not eliminating sensors immediately altogether. Tesla should have re-engineered the LiDAR and sensors again altogether and found ways to cut LiDAR costs through that engineering process. And here I'd like to show you an article about Waymo. Waymo, new robotaxi, will feature fewer sensors to help lower costs. So once Waymo achieves level 4 robotaxi, whatever sensors that the algorithm don't use, they just eliminate that, right? So you don't have to do pre-optimization by, pre-eliminating the necessary sensors. And as the algorithm mature, you can decide according to your customized AI algorithm which sensors you want to keep. And that should have been the path that Tesla should have followed. Now let's talk about the data collection issue that truly dooms Tesla FSD future at its current stage. The reason why Elon and the Tesla FSD team kept over-promising and under-delivering for years on Tesla FSD is because of a fundamental mistake in their data collection and AI training practice. Tesla FSD system suffers from extreme and exponentially noisier data than its competitors because Tesla collects data from all drivers. The Tesla stock bulls on YouTube constantly tout about the amount of data Tesla has. However, these data are collected from Tesla drivers, all of them. I'm not sure what percentage of the data is actually used or discarded during training, but even if they use the top 10 or 20% or 50% of Tesla drivers' data, Tesla FSD will at best drive like an average Tesla driver, or slightly worse, since its AI algorithm is based off of Tesla drivers, which are nowhere near the greatest or safest drivers on the roads. In fact, Tesla drivers have the highest accident rate in the United States, according to a study by LendingTree in 2023. And here I would like to show you the article. Tesla drivers had highest accident rate, BMW drivers highest DUI rate, study finds. So Tesla FSD is being trained on this type of data, at least being pre-trained, and then they do a fine-tuning after pre-train. Given the amount of data that Tesla collects, I don't think they have the manpower or the definition of a good driver or a good maneuver to really filter out the small edge cases and mistakes that sneak into the massive data. So Tesla FSD is trained on a lousy and noisy set of data, with literally no ways to filter out the noise due to the sheer volume of data they collect each day. On paper, especially on earnings call, the number of mileage collected from the Tesla fleet looks good to investors and helps pump the stock. However, the amount of data alone is not enough. Quality matters a lot too. The mileage collected by Tesla are from all Tesla drivers, not some 0.1% or 1%. The filtering of noises and bad drivers' behaviors are probably very minimal at best. This noisy data is then used to pre-train their FSD models, result in less effective AI with increasingly more noises and mistakes as the data size increases. This means that the fine-tuning afterwards will be more intensive and will have increasingly more edge cases to cover, preventing Tesla FSD from ever bypassing great and accident-free drivers on the roads. In short, the data FSD collects is largely skewed towards the average Tesla driver. While most drivers on the roads are average drivers at best according to Geico, and the average Tesla driver may not be as skilled as top drivers, affecting the FSD performance. And here I'd like to show you the FSD community tracker. So the FSD community tracker is essentially a community submitted. I'm not sure whatever the how reliable this is, but this is like the community submission, and you gotta understand that the reason why the estimated distance with no disengagement keep hovering around like 90-something%, and it's not going up right now, right? And it likely will not be going up. And also like the drivers with one or no disengagement, these will not be going up. I don't know the accuracy of the data here. Even if it's accurate, you got to understand like it won't be going up because the data that they use to train FSD is not quality data. So those data are from all Tesla drivers, or maybe the top 1 or 2%, but Tesla drivers are not the best drivers on the road. If you want to drive better than the safest driver on the road to pass regulation, or maybe to ensure safety to the customers, you cannot use data from everyone. The average Tesla driver is not the best driver. That's it. And an AI trained on pre-trained and even fine-tuning based on this amount of data will have exponentially more edge cases as time goes, right? So it is like a never-ending battle, right? Because the average Tesla driver will never drive better than the safest driver. And the best that FSD can do is to drive like the average Tesla driver, or maybe better, or maybe a little better, maybe a little bit worse, but the best Tesla driver is not the safest driver, right? It's not, right? The average Tesla driver is far away from the best driver. Now let's talk about Tesla FSD biggest competitor, Waymo. Waymo, which is the abbreviation of Way Forward in Mobile, or as Waymo engineers call Waymo itself, Waymore, surely aims to become the ultimate driver. They use data from experienced drivers and carefully select top-tier driving footage for AI training. An ex-colleague of mine who transferred from Alphabet Waymo to Google LLC once told me their goal was for Waymo Robotaxi to have superhuman driving skills. Think Batman driving Batmobile or James Bond in his Ferrari, minus the high-speed chase and the shooting part. Now, let's compare that to Tesla FSD goal. Tesla aims for a robotaxi that drives like a human, better than the safest driver on the road. But that is not ambitious enough. It is a low bar compared to Waymo's vision. By setting their goals so low, Tesla has not put its best foot forward to win in the robotaxi and made suboptimal engineering decisions like cutting LiDAR and all sensors to save costs. If Tesla really aimed for Batman-level driving, they would include every possible sensor to max out their potential. Then, once they reach that level, they could consider cutting back. But because Tesla's goal is simply to be better than the safest human driver, they are limiting themselves. That is too low of a bar, making it difficult for Tesla to compete with Waymo. When you set the bar on anything, you usually end up with less than what you aim for. Waymo's lower end is still an L4 driving system, because their bar is Batman level. Meanwhile, Tesla low bar risks producing something closer to an average, drunk or teenage Tesla driver. Thanks to the LiDAR sensors, Waymo has their car metrics down to the millimeters of the distances of different objects from the car that constitute a good or bad or great left-right turn or lane change. This approach minimizes mistakes and improves AI accuracy from the pre-training phase to the post-training fine-tuning phase. It makes it easier to fine-tune afterwards with less unexpected complexity and edge cases to deal with thanks to low level of noises in the human driving data collected in the first place. Due to this LiDAR omission mistake, Tesla Robotaxi will likely have lower margin than even Uber and Lyft. The thing that will kill its margin and profits is AI software recall due to noisy training data and less than accurate measurements of distances due to a lack of LiDAR or any type of sensors. The funny thing is, when Elon talks about eliminating LiDAR and all sensors because robotaxi should drive like humans, he wants it to drive like humans because, humans only drive with, eyes and estimation of distances. Elon sounds like a genius to non-technical Tesla fans. But with technical people like me, we were not very impressed, especially for those who understand both Google and Tesla very deeply and have been working at both companies. Tesla wants to drive like human, but Waymo wants to drive like superhuman. That's why Waymo includes LiDAR and maximum amount of sensors. Elon Musk did not understand Waymo's goal was to be way more. The point of LiDAR is to enable systems to drive like Batman and James Bond, not just human. Waymo software without sensors already drives autonomously at level 2. This is the main problem Tesla Robotaxi will have to face. In a human-driven taxi fleet, if you have 10,000 drivers, one driver makes an accident and the other 9,999 drivers still drive and make money for the taxi company. The entire 10,000 robotaxis are driven by one single entity, which is the robotaxi AI algorithm. If even only one robotaxi makes an at-fault accident, the rest of the fleet, the other 9,999 robotaxis, will get recalled, aka fired effectively, immediately, until the software or the AI bug is fixed. The fleet may get recalled for a couple hours to days and months until the software bug is verified as fixed. So here I would like to show you an article demonstrating what I mean when I say the entire fleet is treated as one entity, as driven by one driver. So recently, Waymo recalled more than 600 self-driving vehicles for software updates after one strikes a pole. So, one Waymo strikes a pole, not a human, and the entire fleet were recalled by regulators. And this will be the way that regulators around the world will treat Tesla FSD when it roll out. You got to understand, like, in a normal taxi company, 10,000 drivers drive independently. Let's say you have 10,000 drivers. One driver making a mistake, the other 9,999 drivers still keep driving to make money for the company. That is the case with Uber, right? So you have 10,000 Uber drivers, say 10,000. One Uber driver makes a mistake, an accident. The other 9,999 Uber drivers still drive and make money for Uber. With Waymo, say they have 10,000 cars. One Waymo car involves in an accident and the other 9,999 cars will have to halt operation and get recalled. Either software recall or hardware recall, we don't know. But, again, the entire Waymo fleet is treated as one driver driving 10,000 cars. But the Uber fleet are treated, or traditional taxi fleet, it is treated as 10,000 drivers driving 10,000 cars. So they are independent. You can fire one driver making a mistake, the other 9,999 drivers still make money for the company. Whereas, if Tesla FSD makes a mistake, the entire fleet is recalled, essentially total loss, money loss for the entire fleet for minutes, hours, days, or month. That means that, the margin, the profit of the robotaxi, if robotaxi is not driving exponentially better than the safest human driver, the total cost for the robotaxi fleet will be super high because every time a bug happens, the entire fleet is fired. If you drive a normal taxi, right, when you make a mistake, the entire fleet are not fired. You are fired, or maybe you have to get the insurance information and you got to work with the authorities because you just make an at-fault accident. But for an entire fleet driven by FSD, if one car makes a mistake, the entire fleet have to halt operation. That means that very low margin. If the AI driving algorithm is not at its best, if it's not driving like Batman driving Batmobile or James Bond driving Ferrari, it is really hard to make profit margin out of it because every time an accident happens, entire fleets shut down. So Tesla FSD 12.5, the magical FSD that Elon Musk has been hyping for months, has faced continuous rollout failures since August on Hardware 3 or HW3. Despite Elon Musk's promise in 2016 that Tesla would have full self-driving capabilities, HW3 or Hardware 3 owners are still waiting for the latest updates, which have been, prioritized for newer Hardware 4 models. The truth is, regardless of what Tesla stock pumpers and Elon Musk and Cathie Wood say about how Tesla is approaching 100% of driving with no intervention, Tesla Robotaxi will need to drive millions times better than the safest human driver. One mistake of one robotaxi among millions of robotaxis means total recall of entire fleet. This is what these Tesla stock pumpers don't tell you. Driving safer than safest driver on the road is not enough. 100% driving without intervention is not enough. Tesla Robotaxi will have to drive 100 million% better than the safest drivers that Geico, State Farm, Allstate, etc. have on their records to be able to turn a profit in the long run for Tesla. In order to pass government regulation, you only need to drive slightly safer than the safest driver on the road. But to turn a profit and minimize any accident that cause an entire fleet recall, Tesla Robotaxi will have to drive a factor of millions better than the safest driver on the road. And to drive millions times better than human driver, Tesla Robotaxi must be able to estimate distances between the car and the objects surrounding it with 100 million times better than human eyes. And only LiDAR sensors can do that at the moment. Tesla cameras and normal car sensors are incapable of estimating distances 100 million times better than human eyes. They are actually even worse than human eyes. Even human eyes are not accurate in estimating distances, even short distances of a couple feet, let alone longer distances of moving targets. As an example, I can't even accurately estimate how far in millimeters from my eyes to this camera right now. Is that like 400 millimeters or is that 500 millimeters? I'm not sure. Essentially, LiDAR sensors are measurement devices and Tesla FSD cameras are estimation devices. Measurement versus estimation. Waymo measures, Tesla estimates. The measurement of Waymo LiDAR will likely have lower margin of errors or standard deviations from Tesla FSD camera-based system. Waymo actually uses combination of both camera-based estimation and LiDAR-based measurement. Remember, camera images only give you estimation when FSD drives your Tesla. Even if the animations of adjacent cars and trucks on the roads look cool on the screen, those are still just estimation of distance and objects, and not measurement of objects. Contrast this with Waymo, which use both cameras-based estimation and LiDAR-based measurement. Sensors measure, camera images only estimate, especially with AI algorithm. This would enable Waymo to eventually drive cars like Batman driving Batmobile, whereas Tesla FSD would drive like an average Tesla driver. And we all know that human drivers are lame. We are not good at multitasking, which is crucial for one to drive really well. Investors often focus on hype and buzzwords rather than the technical flaws in training data. They fail to realize that noisy data leads to AI models that may never outperform even the average human drivers, let alone the best drivers. This is why I believe Tesla FSD performance measured by the percentage of disengagement will never exceed that of the best human drivers. Tesla FSD is based on data from all Tesla drivers, many of whom are not the best drivers on the road. Camera reliability is another concern. Issues like dust or rain affecting the cameras could lead to serious safety problems. A single major incident could damage public perception and halt Tesla FSD progress, similar to how Uber ended its self-driving program after a fatal pedestrian accident. And here I'd like to show you, it's on Wikipedia, it's the death of Elaine Herzberg, and she was struck by an Uber self-driving car at the time. And, this is what happened with self-driving car fleet, right? The entire fleet is treated as one driver, driving 1 million cars. It's very different from 1 million human drivers driving 1 million cars. A robotaxi fleet will be treated as one driver driving 1 million cars. And now, instead of proving its capabilities on real roads, Tesla is setting up a Hollywood stage to demo FSD on October 10th, 2024. Think about it. Tesla is building a show on a movie set to demonstrate FSD, instead of rolling out an actual self-driving service in real-world conditions like Waymo does. Waymo and Cruise, they do not need a Hollywood event to show off their progress because they have something real to demonstrate. Actual robotaxis operating on public roads. It's not like Alphabet that do not have money. Tesla, they seem more interested in stock pumping than proving their tech. The FSD must have been trained very meticulously to drive extremely well, specifically inside the Hollywood studio, which totally defeats the purpose of having a generic robotaxi service. The thing is, the stock price may still go up after this scam event, even though it delivers zero real-world value. If Tesla were truly ahead in the self-driving space, we would already see their cars driving autonomously everywhere, or at least have a robotaxi service open to the public in San Francisco, like Waymo does. After all these years, it's just a demo. This is because Tesla FSD will never surpass the driving ability of a great human driver. It is designed to be at best as good as the average Tesla driver. Tesla's goal is not to drive like Batman in the Batmobile. It is just trying to be better than humans, but that aim is way too low. Plus, they are not doing it with cheap hardware. If Tesla ever does drive better than the best human driver, Waymo will be out there driving better than Batman in the Batmobile. Another product design and strategy problem with Tesla FSD approach is its AI robotaxi is dependent on its EV sales. Many Tesla bulls view Tesla as an AI play, and Elon Musk even say that if you don't think Tesla is an AI company, don't invest. However, Tesla AI, particularly its robotaxi, is heavily dependent on its EV sales. The more EVs Tesla sells, the more data it has to train its AI. Conversely, fewer EV sales means Tesla has less data, putting Tesla at a disadvantage compared to competitors like Hyundai or BYD, who can easily gather their own data due to their large market share. The biggest mistake Elon Musk and the FSD team made was assuming that EV would achieve mass adoption and Tesla will have an edge in data collection. But the thing about autonomous vehicles is that self-driving technology is a finite, solvable problem, unlike artificial general intelligence or AGI. This means multiple companies can and will solve it, leading to fierce competition. Each company will have its own approach, further diluting the Tesla so-called lead in robotaxi. Tesla's self-driving tech does not require AGI-level intelligence because driving a car, while complex, is a finite problem. Human general intelligence is far more complex than what is needed to drive a car. I mean, we are driving a car on a fixed road with fixed rules on a shrinking planet called Earth, right? We are not driving the car around the ever-expanding universe. So self-driving is not an infinite AI problem and nowhere close to AGI, technically speaking. The myth that autonomous driving requires AGI is just that. It is a myth. Just because you can drive a car better than Steve Jobs or Michael Jordan or Albert Einstein does not mean that you are better in general intelligence tasks than Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, or Albert Einstein. Driving is a complex set of skills, but it is not and will never be a measurement stick of general intelligence. It is a very tiny, small, microscopic subset of human intelligence or artificial general intelligence, AGI. Since autonomous driving is a finite problem, many car manufacturers and AI companies will be able to solve it. BYD's dominance, especially in large markets like urban China and Europe, means they will likely have a significant data advantage over Tesla in the long run. To thrive in the AI self-driving car world, you need both data and market share, and that requires making cheaper vehicles that can achieve large market share. However, Musk has never been interested in competing on price, which limits Tesla's ability to dominate in AI. This dependency on EV sales and drivers' data is by design. Tesla FSD relies entirely on user data to train and fine-tune AI, with no independent measurement or decision-making sublogic similar to Waymo taking advantage of LiDAR and sensors. This will prevent Tesla from delivering the superhuman performance customers will expect from a robotaxi service in the future. Instead, it will perform like an average human driver, which is not what people want. Tesla's next giant problem with their full self-driving FSD strategy is distraction. While Tesla is distracted with projects beyond just EVs like AI energy, humanoid robots, and even ventures like xAI, competitors like BYD are closing the gap. In fact, some might have argued that they already surpassed Tesla in key areas. And here's a crucial point. Since Tesla FSD depends on its EV sales, this distraction is a huge product strategy mistake. Let's break it down. Tesla used to be the clear global leader in EV, but now BYD is dominating globally. BYD is laser focused on EV and EV related technologies, while Tesla's attention is scattered across multiple ventures. In 2023, BYD spent $5.6 billion on R&D compared to Tesla $4 billion. What even more shocking is that BYD making these investments despite having much lower cash reserve, just $13.3 billion as of March 2024, compared to Tesla $30.7 billion. That means BYD R&D spending is not only $1.6 billion more than Tesla, but also 29% higher when considering R&D as a percentage of cash reserve. And all these dollars, every single dollar, goes into EV sales, EV technologies, battery technologies, etc. Here I would like to show you some of the data I just talked about. So this is from YChart. This BYD research and development expense is for the year ending at 2023 is about $6 billion. Right? You compare that with Tesla. Tesla is about $4 billion. So it's about $2 billion more than Tesla. All the while, they actually have lower cash reserve than Tesla. The striking thing about this is really the rare time we're seeing a Chinese company outspending a Western giant like Tesla in R&D in the same industry within the tech sector. If you adjust for PPP or purchase price parity, BYD is even further ahead in R&D dollars spent. The key difference here is focus on what matters most to autonomous cars, EV market share or global sales numbers. Tesla R&D dollars are spread thin across FSD, Dojo, humanoid robots, more. While BYD is doubling down on EV innovation, this gives BYD a major advantage, especially as they continue to outspend Tesla. When it comes to Tesla product focus, actions speak louder than words. Elon Musk keeps talking about robots and AI, but what is Tesla actually selling? Cars. Full self-driving FSD is not even widely used by Tesla owners. In fact, fewer than 10% of Tesla drivers use FSD regularly, and many don't see the point in paying for a half-baked features. In fact, Tesla profits seem to be going everywhere except where they should be. While BYD is focused on EV, Tesla is paying Elon Musk a massive $50 billion salary package, and now he has requested another $5 billion from Tesla board to fund xAI startup. Tesla is not a company on the verge of a robo-taxi revolution. It is still an EV car maker. Musk already knows the robo-taxi idea is not going to work out, which is why he's pivoting focus to projects like humanoid robots or xAI. FSD is starting to look like vaporware, and the hype around robo-taxis feels more like stock pumping than actual product, especially with the Hollywood stage rental and arranged customization for the sole purpose of showing off Tesla FSD capabilities. While Tesla is busy with all this, BYD is executing its strategy perfectly. Not only are they focusing on EV, but they are also ahead in battery technology. BYD pioneered the LFP battery, which is cheaper and requires less nickel and lithium than Tesla lithium-ion batteries. Tesla is now actually using these BYD batteries in their Model Y built in Giga Berlin. Here I will show you the article. It's new Tesla Model Y in Berlin is actually using BYD batteries. This is from Electrek. And you can see here that LFP cell package from BYD. So essentially they are no longer leading in even like battery technologies anymore. BYD's laser focus on EVs is translating directly into global EV sales. In 2023, BYD sold 1.5 million plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or PHEV and 2.2 million vehicles combined, including BEV or battery electric vehicles and PHEV. Both BYD BEVs or pure EV car and PHEV or plug-in hybrid cars contribute data to train its self-driving car algorithm. Compare that to Tesla, which sold just 1.3 million pure EV vehicles. That is a massive beat in terms of data collection for BYD over Tesla. Remember, Tesla FSD depends on data collected from its EV fleet, but with BYD selling more vehicles overall, especially with their dual data streams from both PHEV and BEV, they are gathering more driving data than Tesla in the near future. BYD's vehicles are also equipped with LiDAR and other self-driving technologies, capturing every detail of driving behavior. Meanwhile, Tesla FSD approach, which is limited to BEV-only data, pales in comparison. BYD essentially outsourced its entire self-driving hardware design to other companies and concentrate its power on making the most affordable EVs possible to capture global market share to feed data into its AI self-driving algorithm. BYD is not just dominating in data collection, they are also expanding globally at a pace that is leaving Tesla in the dust. Canada, South Korea, and Thailand are just a few of the markets where BYD is expanding rapidly. In Canada, they are shaking up the North American EV market, directly challenging Tesla. In South Korea, they are gaining ground in a tech-forward country. And in Thailand, BYD opened a new factory, cementing their dominance in Southeast Asia, where Tesla has almost no presence. Recently, Tesla even scrapped plan to build a Tesla Gigafactory in Thailand and Mexico, further giving up global EV market share to BYD. And this is not just about market entry. BYD is winning globally. Elon Musk once mocked BYD, but now they have overtaken Tesla to become the largest BEV and PHEV manufacturers in the world. And in terms of pure EVs, in Q4 2023, BYD surpassed Tesla in global pure EV deliveries. Their vehicles are cheaper, more accessible, and in many cases, better overall. So Tesla dominance in EVs and by extension FSD won't be here for long. To make things worse for Tesla, it's not just BYD coming for them. Chinese giants like Baidu and Xiaomi are also entering the robotaxi market. Baidu's Apollo Go and Xiaomi's upcoming robotaxis are set to disrupt the market, and these companies are experts at shrinking margins and undercutting competitors. Tesla simply cannot compete with these aggressive pricing strategies of these Chinese firms, especially as their resources are spread across so many projects. Tesla's lack of focus is costing them. BYD now defines the EV industry, while Tesla is spreading itself too thin. And because FSD's success relies on EV sales, Tesla is falling behind. With BYD rapidly expanding and selling more vehicles, they are gathering more data, developing more refined self-driving technology, and steadily pulling ahead. Tesla's unsafe approach to training its autonomous vehicles is a major reason why regulators remain hesitant to approve its robotaxi license. This is not just about minor tweaks, it is a pattern. Reports show that Tesla manipulates its software to perform better for VIPs like Elon Musk and certain YouTube influencers. This raises serious ethical concerns and show a lack of focus on building a reliable, safe product for the public. Yeah, and here I'd like to show you the article on Benzinga. It's a Tesla is giving special treatment to Musk and high-profile VIP drivers in FSD development. So these VIP drivers are YouTubers, right? So all the YouTube videos you see, most of them get, preferred treatments from Tesla, FSD. That's a very unsafe thing. I mean, FSD should have been a generic way for cars to drive, and not being customized just, to pump stock. The root of this problem is Tesla's corporate culture. Elon surrounds himself with yes men and yes women who never challenge him. This is very different from Steve Jobs, who surrounds himself with people who actually tell him what to do. Elon's way of management is top-down, where dissent is not tolerated. Employees who say no are fired, like what happened to the Supercharger team. The entire team were fired. Ironically, Musk had to rehire some of them later just to keep things running and avoid upsetting shareholders. Here I'd like to show you the article. The entire supercharger team was fired. I mean, this is the best team of Tesla, to be honest. They define industry standards, so many industry standards. I think the leader of the team, Rebecca, she essentially stand up against Musk and got fired. And the entire team was axed. This is why regulators in the US, China, and Europe have not granted Tesla permits for self-driving cars without human drivers. Tesla keeps claiming their testing depends on regulatory approval. But the truth is their approach is not ready. And if their robotaxi gets delayed, Elon Musk will likely blame it on bureaucracy or government regulation something from Europe and China, instead of admitting their system is flawed. This is not official Tesla AI account, but they admit here that everything is pending regulatory approval when it comes to Tesla FSD. Baidu and all these Chinese companies and even Western robotaxi companies, they all got approvals already to run their robotaxis. Tesla still has not gotten any approvals despite Elon Musk promised of FSD for years now. Elon Musk knows the robotaxi hype can only go so far. That's probably why he is shifting focus to humanoid robots or, politics or whatever, XAI. He has been talking about them, the humanoid robots, more in the last few months than about Tesla's self-driving capabilities. Meanwhile, in California, where Waymo and Cruise are running their robotaxi services at scale, Tesla has not even contacted the state to apply for a permit. And that is despite California being the highest margin state for Tesla to operate in, thanks to high Uber driver wages. Here I can show you the article. California agencies, they haven't heard from Tesla about its plan for the cars, even though Tesla CEO announced last week that he will reveal a new robotaxi product. This is back in April, right? So in August, it's in October now. And up until April, no contract from Tesla to run their robotaxi service. Tesla robotaxi is already behind schedule and likely will not roll out until 2025. If ever, Elon Musk's constant promises of next year are wearing thin. The competition is pulling ahead and Tesla margins are about to be razor thin, if they exist at all. And then there are the regulatory hurdles. One accident involving a Tesla robotaxi could force a massive recall. Look at what happened with Waymo, right? With Waymo, one minor accident, recall of the entire fleet. Regulators like NHTSA will not hesitate to step in and force Tesla to do the same, further delaying the rollout. Musk's comparison of Tesla FSD current development to ChatGPT is also completely off base. Mistakes with ChatGPT are limited to software, but errors in robotaxis involve human lives. This just highlights how much Tesla AI lags behind more advanced systems like Waymo's. And here I'd like to show you the article. Elon Musk promised Tesla's very own ChatGPT moment. So essentially, no. I mean, it's not gonna. ChatGPT is different. And if you're comparing yourself to ChatGPT, you're aspiring to have ChatGPT moment, you are nowhere close to competing with most robotaxis on the road. Tesla robotaxi is dead on arrival. The technical flaws are staggering. Ditching LiDAR to cut costs, relying on noisy data, and using cheap hardware. Add in the crushing cost of AI training and you have got a system that cannot compete in a razor-thin margin industry like ride-hailing. Meanwhile, Waymo and Cruise are already running autonomous fleets while Tesla is stuck on demos. Then there are the operational and public trust issues. What happens when a Tesla robotaxi breaks down or lets in a criminal? Who handles the inevitable accidents or even just cleaning up after passengers? With every potential incident, public trust weakens and regulators are sure to step in. Tesla is already facing internal turmoil from a top-down management culture that's silent dissent to employees who have lost faith in the company's direction and don't count on China as an easy market. The CCP will not let an American company dominate their autonomous driving space. Meanwhile, BYD and other Chinese EV makers are racing ahead, dominating both the EV and autonomous taxi markets by leveraging the massive data they collect. So don't hold your breath for Tesla robotaxi. On October 10th, all we will see is a Hollywood-style demo, while competitors' real autonomous taxis are already on the road in the US, China, and Europe. Tesla's delays are not about bureaucracy, they are about the safety concerns tied to their own tech, and the Tesla stock will still be fooled by cult-like speculation. That's exactly why I sold mine. I'm not saying Tesla stock will go up or down, but I don't gamble on cults. The market can stay irrational longer than I can stay solvent. And Tesla's stagnant stock price since 2021 shows something is off. Tesla has built on stories and speculation and fulfilling some promises while failing miserably on others. I invest in companies, not fantasies. And Tesla has become the worst AI gamble on the planet. And that will do it for me. Please let me know down in the comments below. What do you think about the Tesla FSD event on October 10th? Thank you for watching. See you in next videos. Bye bye.